Okay, hi, my name is Carter Cox, and today I'll be giving you a persuasive speech about the immigration system in the United States. Okay, so my purpose in this speech is to persuade you to have the same opinion as me, or even look at things in a different view. And it is my belief that the system that we have right now for immigration of people to the U.S. to not only become residents but also eventually become citizens, I believe that the system is flawed and it's not logical and it's not a streamlined process. It's kind of like backwards and weird, and there's only certain ways you can do it. And I think that if we made this system better and we improved it, then it would make a lot of things easier in the long run for not only the U.S. but also for the immigrants themselves. Okay, so here's a little information for you. 8 million, or at least 8,062,646 illegal immigrants have crossed the border illegally. Now that could be southern border, any border. So it's just illegal immigrants. That's not just illegal immigrants coming from Mexico have crossed the border since Biden's administration. And now, so it is my belief that not all of those are bad people. They're just people looking for new lives. But the problem with this is that none of them are real citizens, so they can't lead these new lives because they're not actual citizens. And also there's no documentation of them, so we don't really know who's bad, who's good, what percentage of bad people we're letting into our borders. So in order to stop this, I have something that will stop this later in the presentation. We'll get there. Let me exit out of this thing right here. Okay. The U.S. immigration system, in my opinion, does not make sense. There are only 4 real ways that you can immigrate legally to the U.S. and or I guess you can. There's the only 4 ways to become a U.S. citizen in the U.S. So it's either birth, so you're born to a U.S. citizen. So that means like if a U.S. citizen went out of the country and had a kid out of the country, they're still a U.S. citizen because they were the child of a U.S. citizen. And then there's marriage, which means that if a U.S. citizen marries someone that isn't a U.S. citizen, that automatically makes the person they married a U.S. citizen. I like that. That makes sense. Military. Now, I guess this means kind of like more like recruitment. So like, if the military wants someone like to join the military, but they're not a U.S. citizen, when they join the military, they become a U.S. citizen. And then the last one, which is the hardest way to do it, is becoming a permanent lawful resident. So like if you hear about like a green card, that's what they're talking about. Is that the green card shows that you're a permanent lawful resident. Now, the only way to get that is to apply for a visa. Now, this could be a work visa, this could be an investor's visa, or there's other certain special requirements. These requirements for this permanent lawful resident visa thing are like really specific. So like only if you have some special, and by the way, the workers, it's only if you have a special talent that is needed in the U.S. So it's not just to go work in the U.S. You have to have a special thing that they need in the U.S. And it has to be applied by it has to be, not applied, it has to be accepted by someone. So if you're not a worker that has a special thing that they need in the U.S., or an investor, like a big time investor, no one's gonna accept your visa thing. And since you're not a worker or an investor, but you're still applying, you still have you have to pay a steep price of $460 to $780 to even petition to get this visa, even if you get it. So I think this is flawed. And so like the people that need to become a U.S. citizen, like the people that have the need to put themselves in a better economic situation, don't have the means to do so because it costs so much to do so. So obviously they're going to do it illegally. They're going to immigrate illegally because they have no other choice. Which brings me to the next slide. A better system would stop illegal immigration. So if we have this better system where people can logically and like financially immigrate to the U.S., we would have documentation on these people. We would stop more of so like the 8 million illegal immigrants in the U.S. would be a lot less because they wouldn't have to illegally immigrate. They could do it in a better process and do it legally. Most of them want to do it legally, but they just don't have a choice because the system is so flawed. And like I said, the things that makes it flawed is the cost, the steep cost, their inability to do so, the ability to conjure up that money, or the inability to meet these extremely specific requirements such as workers, or investors, or marriage, birth, military. So, it almost forces people to immigrate illegally. Okay, which leads us to another reason why this new system, or three more reasons why this new system would positively impact both sides. It would decrease the amount of illegal immigration. We already talked about that, and a good thing about that though is we know, like, the documentation. So like, a way this could work is like if you send them over, you get documentation on them, and then they become these lawful residents. And like the more they live, and the more time they live in the United States, they get more like points or whatever towards becoming a citizen. The more civil duties they do, all that. To improve the amount of workers, more workers in the U.S. means more jobs are getting done, meaning better economy, and it would help immigrants live better lives. A lot of people, when they're talking about this, they don't think about the lives of the immigrants, and they're still lives. So the lives of those people are important too, not just the lives of the United States citizens. So yeah. Now, the change starts with you. The only way we can get this to happen is if we, one, protest, peaceful protest though, or two, elect people that have the same ideas as this, and people that will actually get it done. Now, a lot of people say they'll get it done, but very few people actually will get it done. So we need to elect the people that will get it done, because this is a very important situation right now, especially with all the people that are crossing right now. As you saw, there was 8 million people that crossed the border illegally during Biden's administration. So it's a pressing issue right now. So we need to do what we can to fix it in this time. Okay, thank you.